Howdy, folks. This is Dr. Matthew Grieshop, Director of the Grimm Family Center for Organic Production and Research at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. And you are listening to Organic Chat. Today, I'm going to be talking with Anthony Uribe. Anthony is a Cal Poly student who's been working at the organic farm. So welcome to the podcast, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Maybe to get started, can you talk about how you came to the organic farm? What brought you to us?
Sure, yeah. I started through a program called College Core, and it's just a program that allows students to work around the community as volunteers, and they get subsidized each month. But the funny thing was, I wasn't actually supposed to start at the organic farm. I was actually supposed to start at another farm across town, but as a freshman, I had no way of getting over there. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the people um, who worked at College Core, said maybe you should pick something a little closer to campus. So it was kind of luck of the draw that I landed at
Yeah,
the
that's
organic
right.
farm.
No, I remember talking with Brandon, our farm manager, when your application came through. I think we already had 4 or 5 students from the program, and it was our first year working with the program. And we're sort of, yeah, sure, room for one more,
Yeah.
and that was pretty awesome. But I mean, you're no longer with College Core, correct?
No, yeah. So this past summer, I actually joined the crew officially. Um, and yeah, not much has changed. I mean, I'm still having a great
No.
time at the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've very intentionally tried to make sure that the College Core fellows that we have are just kind of fit seamlessly in with our regular paid farm crew, and it's been a great program for us. I mean, we've got to meet some really cool students, yourself included, that I'm guessing otherwise we probably never would have gotten the opportunity to interact with. So in in all sort of fairness and forewarning, I've bragged a little about you, Anthony, because I think it's kind of interesting. So, how about what are you studying, and what did you come to Cal Poly to study?
Yeah. So I actually came to Cal Poly as a business major.
Yep, which is
Um,
great. I
yeah,
mean,
there's nothing wrong with it.
no,
Just
not casting any shade. We've got a great business program.
yeah, I learned very quickly that it wasn't for me, and I live in Paso Robles,
Hmm.
and so I come from, my family has a little bit of land, and we have sheep, and
Hmm.
we grow all our own vegetables and stuff, and I wasn't really too into it, um, coming into college, and so I think I had a slight like aversion to it. I was like, you know what, this is not for me. I'm gonna try
Right.
something else. I'm gonna do business. And I learned very quickly that that was not for me, and that I
Yeah.
should have stuck with my roots. And ever since I've seen, or I've moved on from just a couple acres that my family has to just a couple more acres and a lot, a little bigger scale. I kind of got
Yeah.
stuck, and I
So
love it now. Yeah,
you got the ag bug.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and again, that's of course why I brag, because that's exactly the kind of thing that we're hoping to do, is bring young people into agriculture
Hmm.
who maybe didn't see it as a potential career option. So, yeah, I'm tickled that we managed to bring you back over to the
Sure. Yeah,
to this side of the
yeah.
fence. Um, so you're currently an ag systems management student,
Yes,
right?
yes, I
So
am.
do you,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about that a little bit? I mean, what are you experiencing in the ag systems management program?
Yeah, so my first year as business, I'm in my second year now, and I've just had a great time. It's like the perfect balance of, you're still doing a little bit of business,
Yep.
economics and um, just project management and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But then I also get to dip a little bit into like the engineering side with
Mm-hmm.
like computer design, so like AutoCAD and
Yeah.
SolidWorks and stuff like that. And I'm actually taking surveying this
Oh,
quarter,
nice. Oh,
which is
yeah.
fun. So I love how it's like, I don't have to do all the math and all the science that an engineer would have to do, but I
Right.
still get, to dip my feet in so many different things. And I feel like I'm always working hands on something. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah. The ASM, the Ag Systems Management degree program here, is just awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, when I learned about it, and it is, I mean, what you're describing is exactly what it's designed to be. It's sort
Hmm.
of, I talk about it like it's like you're being trained to be a translator between purely business folks and engineers, right? You get
Yeah.
enough engineering so you can talk to an engineer and at least follow along.
Hmm.
And the same with the business folks. So then that puts you in a position of really unique talent to be a project manager,
Yeah.
because you can swim in both ponds, so to speak. So yeah, I think it's a really wonderful program, and yeah, I'm glad that you joined it. I can't say enough good things about the bioresource ag engineering
Oh
department
yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic department. I'm really happy to work with them. So it is called Organic Chat though, and we haven't
Sure.
talked much about,
Yeah.
or we haven't chatted about organics yet. But
Yeah.
one question I ask most guests who come on this is yeah, so obviously you're early in your career
Hmm.
and you've been working on an organic farm though. So what is this organic thing to you? And I'm not looking for, you don't have to give me like a USDA definition,
Yeah.
but more
Sure.
personally, I mean, what do you feel like organic is based on your experience working in it?
Um, yeah, it's hard to put. It's hard to describe it like briefly, but I just love the feeling of like working with my hands and being
Hmm.
outside.
Yeah.
I think that there's something so rewarding just about being out there, and
Yeah.
you know, and especially with organics, because it, let's be honest, it takes so much more work to,
Yeah.
yeah, to create, organic produce. And I just feel so lucky to be able to work out there and work with my hands, because I feel like I'm I have received and I'm currently receiving like this gift to be out there that very few people even recognize how amazing it would feel to work with your hands and work in the dirt and get
Yeah.
dirty, and you know I really enjoy being
Yeah,
out
you've got a terminal case of the ag bug, it sounds like to me,
there.
which I mean, that's me too. I think I really, at your age, started working at the agroecology farm at Santa Cruz, and
Yeah.
I got to do a little bit of production stuff and, do some stuff in apples and then also get some research experience. And it's really what gave me the bug. And yeah, I've been in agriculture ever since. So yeah, I completely agree with you. There is, even though I spend a lot of time staring at computers
Yeah.
because of where I'm at now, but I still get out there, and I mean, every summer I look forward to getting out there and doing some weeding, I, which sounds weird,
Yeah, yeah.
but
You have to experience it
yeah,
to
yeah,
understand.
yeah. Well, that's really great. So, another thing I like to ask students in particular on this podcast is, so you've been at the farm for about a year
Yeah.
now,
Sure.
and I'm sure you've had lots of opportunities to learn.
Hmm.
And learning, we've got the whole learn by doing thing, but sometimes I say, well, yeah, but there's also an element of learn by failing.
Yeah.
So, right,
Yes.
we learn
Yes.
from our mistakes.
Yes.
That's kind of it. So the question I love to ask is, so Anthony, if you had to look back at like, what has been the most educational mistake
Hmm.
or that you've experienced while working at the organic farm?
I mean, if we're
I know
talking about,
you
yeah.
haven't hit an irrigation main. You're not part of
No,
that club,
no, I
not
have
yet, at
not.
least. But there's
No,
time.
I've done my fair share of bumping into our fences though.
Yep.
Um, I mistake. I can't exactly pinpoint a mistake, but
Or surprise, or
yeah, I one thing that surprised me was just um like getting used to the diversity of the organic farm. You know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like there's just so like everyone comes from a different background, and I feel like from an outside perspective, you're thinking, oh, it's just a bunch of farmers.
right.
But I've worked with so many different people. I've worked with plant science people and
Hmm.
ASM such as myself, and
Yep.
ag business, and just people from all different walks of life. And so I think the biggest mistake I made coming to the farm was thinking that everyone was going to be the same.
Yeah,
Everyone
like
was going to be, yeah, everyone was going to
bunch of
be,
folks from an ag
yes,
background,
exactly.
and we certainly, we have folks from ag
Yeah,
backgrounds, but
yeah.
what I tell people in industry too is that increasingly, given the sort of grim demographics of
Hmm.
farming and how we're losing farms and farmers across the country, more and more of our recruitment is really coming from students who maybe were ag adjacent, like
Sure.
yourself,
Yeah,
were, bumping up against ag, but maybe not working in it.
yeah.
And then just straight up kids from a more urban, suburban environment who really, until coming to us, had never touched a piece of farm
Hmm.
equipment, let alone driven a tractor and
Yeah.
cultivated and, set up irrigation and done all the things that we do on a daily basis out there. And so, yeah, it's really awesome to hear you recognize that though, because it's one of the things that Brandon, our farm supervisor, and myself, we talk about is how cool that actually is. That,
Yeah.
and how much we really enjoy having a really diverse group of students on the farm coming from different backgrounds and different perspectives, because it just enhances our ability to educate, and it really enhances our ability to solve problems, because you get folks making suggestions that, to someone who's been, head down farming for 10 plus years, just don't even enter your consciousness,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah.
it's just, you just sort of aren't even going to think about it.
Mm.
So I know it's again really great to hear you recognize that, though. So is that is there anything else surprising that you've learned? I mean, maybe not from the result of a
Of a
mistake
mistake.
or
Yeah.
whatever, but
Um, I think there's this idea that's been thrown around that as um, like food is becoming more and more available,
hmm
it's difficult to connect the consumer with the producer.
hmm
A lot of people say um, that people should get a better understanding of where their food comes from
hmm
and stuff like that. And I think, I've been out on the farm and it's, sometimes not the most pleasant weather and it's hot
yep,
or it's raining. And I think just getting the smallest bit of insight as to how food is made, especially organic produce,
yeah,
um, has just been a big game changer. Because
yeah,
now I'll go to the store and instead of just, rifling through all the produce and looking for the best one, I'll be like, wow, like, every store has a whole section of this lettuce,
right,
and
yeah,
I've grown a couple heads of lettuce, and it's not. I mean, it's pretty, um, time consuming, and
yeah,
you have to get everything right. And so I think that idea of having the appreciation of the food that you're consuming, like someone spent hours
right.
of their time,
Like, how
just to
many
produce.
people were engaged in growing that piece of lettuce, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
getting it to you,
exactly.
on the farm, off the farm.
Yeah,
Well, it's great to hear you comment on that, because that's, one of my really core beliefs in ag education and outreach. I mean, I'll ask you this question after I answer it.
sure.
So one
Yeah.
question I love to ask people is what I call the magic wand question. It's like,
Mm.
hey, if you could do one thing, wave a magic wand, just make it happen. In relation to agriculture, say, what would it be? My answer typically is I would give everybody the experience of growing even just a single tomato plant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just and having the joy of watching the seed sprout, the transplant grow, the transplant, once it's transplanted, mature into a healthy vine. The wonder of watching that vine produce flowers, and then the fruit coming off it, and then the sheer abject agony when late blight comes
Oh
in,
yeah.
or a rodent comes in
Yeah.
and just wipes it out.
Yeah.
And and I really feel like, if everyone could experience that, it might help them, look at food in a fundamentally different way when they're in the grocery store, exactly the way that you're describing it. So in the interest of fairness, though, so Anthony, if I were to give
Yeah.
you the magic wand and you could make just one sweeping, as big or small as you want, change across that relates to agriculture,
Sure.
what would it be? If you need two, you can have two.
Yeah. I kind of playing off like what you're saying. I just if some way or somehow we could just have people be more mindful,
Mm-hmm.
that of what's going on. I feel like agriculture is like almost like some people they see it as just like a very old profession,
Yeah,
you know, and I feel like
about 12,000 years.
yeah, I mean it is, but it's not very many people would be familiar with the modern aspect of it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely not.
and so I guess to answer your question, maybe just a little more curiosity, and just
So you'd
you know,
spark
yeah,
curiosity about
yes, exactly.
agriculture.
Like
Yeah,
what
I
happened
like
with
that.
me because
Yeah.
I mean I'm having the time of my life right now, just being out in the
And
field and
again, so you're just going to make me brag about you more when I'm talking to, our industry partners and donors. And yeah. And so now I need to figure out how to get another couple dozen Anthony type
yeah,
converted,
yeah,
or Antonia, whatever,
sure, yeah, yeah,
yeah, we
yeah,
don't discriminate. Um, yeah, that's a great That's a great thought. And yeah, it's amazing. One thing I think about a lot, and I actually talk about a lot, is in classes and in conversations with industry partners and conversations with the public, is just how invisible um, agriculturalists are in our society. And it's really interesting because on the one hand, it's just simple demographics. There's not a lot of us. I mean, really, when you look at and this has been talked about on this podcast before, but we're down to about 1.4% via the census identifying themselves as agriculturalists. But the reality is, it's only about 5% of that very small segment of our population that is actually feeding the national food system in an appreciable way. So what I mean by that is, the vast majority of folks who are farmed like I farmed when we had our little community CSA, community supported ag, where we lost money every year. Yeah. So, the vast majority of these people are not making their money farming, right? They might make a little bit of money farming. Chances are they're breaking even or losing money. It's kind of an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
But what that translates to in terms of just sheer numbers in our population is probably between 5 and 10 million people, farm workers included. That is the labor force, if you will, that provides food for 350 million. Give or take, with imports and exports and everything, you could make different arguments. But ultimately, that is such a tiny fraction of our population.
Yeah.
And so no wonder we're invisible, right? Because there just aren't many of us. But on top of that, I think, one thing I've really noticed in my career in ag, and I'm no stranger to this either, is we message within our circles really well, and we tend to look inward. We look at other, and it's just human nature. We look at other people doing similar things, and that's who we want to talk with.
Sure.
But that really only reinforces, unfortunately, our invisibility, right? Because ultimately, when there's very few of you, but you're so vital, like everyone likes to eat 3 times a day, at least I do. You're so vital to civilization. How do you get that message out there? And so, it's great to hear you talking about that, and that our conversation went to that turn, because one of my big hopes with all the students that I work with is you're going to be awesome agricultural ambassadors.
Yeah.
And this is one reason I work with ag comms and do these podcasts, because that's how we're going to do it, right? We have to look out. We have to engage outward.
Yeah.
We've got to get people thinking about, beyond just eating, their role in this food system. Because ultimately, if we are going to do a better job with things, it takes visibility. It takes conscious effort.
Sure.
And 10 million of us are not going to get that done.
Yeah.
We need significantly more help from folks on the other side of the cash register. I'm talking way too much.
No, that's okay. All good things.
Yeah. So what are you thinking? Obviously, you're in your second year, you change majors, but if you could just choose a job, so Anthony, in 3 or 4 years, I don't know what you're on track for, right, so I won't put pressure on you. But in 3 or 4 years, you're out there and you're getting hired by somebody. What are some of the things that you think would be really fulfilling?
Yeah, that's the toughest question you've asked me.
I know it's a terrible question that I ask students, and us old people like to do that.
It's hard to say because I feel like my major is so broad in agriculture.
Oh yeah, you're in an incredible. I mean, a lot of your colleagues end up out of ag, frankly.
Yeah, I don't know. I've taken a couple classes with that touched on project management and estimation and stuff like that. And I'm not the greatest at math, but I was really I was really drawn into some of those fields. But I don't know. I have a feeling I'm gonna end up still working, in the soil and
so you want to do something that keeps you engaged with agricultural production in the field. That's what I'm taking from that.
I definitely still want to be, working in the field and working hands-on. But I'll settle for, maybe going like yourself, if I have to spend time in the office, that's okay.
Well, it's kind of a more money, more problems thing usually. As you move up in organizations, you end up managing things, and some of that's walking around,
sure,
some of it's not.
Yeah.
And in my case, and because of academia, I write a lot, do all that stuff, develop courses, all that fun stuff.
Sure.
But yeah. Well, that's great. Well, is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or do you have questions for me? I mean, this is a chat and a conversation.
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot. We got a
Yeah.
lot of I love hearing your perspective because it's very easy to kind of tune out,
Hmm.
especially people my age. You're going to school. Most people are just thinking about
Everyone's busy.
passing their tests, paying for college and all this. Um, and it's nice to get um, advice from people who are in the industry.
Oh,
And it's
well,
it's important to realize that, like, we are going to enter this industry in a couple years or even sooner, so we should start be
and it won't be very long till you all are
yeah,
the industry, right? I mean,
yeah,
because ultimately it's all people.
sure,
And yeah, and for me, the privilege I get working in an institution of higher ed is I get to be part of that, right?
hmm,
And
yeah,
that's what makes me really feel fulfilled, is that I get to work with awesome students like yourself, and who are going to go out there and sort of affect change and help us do a better job.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I tell students all the time. I mean, that's what it's about, is find your ethics, find what you like, find what you don't like, get out there and do stuff. and
yeah,
and yeah, so when I've got students changing from business to ag
hmm,
systems
yeah,
management, and
yeah, yeah,
excited to work in the soil, that's a really good day.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for taking time for this chat. And we really enjoy working with you here at the center and the farm. And yeah, it'll be just great to see where you take things next.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was a good time, good chat.
Thanks for listening to Organic Chat. This podcast is a product of the Grimm Family Center for Organic Production and Research at Cal Poly, and is edited by Mary Masterman.